Facts About Deafness by Amanda Girardi for Class 602. Dispelling the myths. Myth number 1. People who are deaf and hard of hearing cannot use the telephone. Fact. Some hard of hearing people have enough residual hearing to talk on the phone. To assist them, they can use a caption telephone or an amplification device. Deaf people can use a teletypewriter, video phone, and/or video relay services. Myth number 2. Deaf people are mute. It is incorrect to assume this. Some may choose not to use their voices if they think they will be difficult to understand or have inappropriate pitch or volume. In any case, terms like deaf and dumb or deaf mute are not appropriate and considered offensive. Myth number 3. People who are deaf and hard of hearing can read lips. The fact is, lip reading is a skill that only some deaf and hard of hearing people have. Even with the best lip readers, it is important to remember that only about 25% of speech is visible on the lips. Some words look exactly the same. For instance, the words paddle and battle. Myth number 4. People who have a cochlear implant have had their hearing loss restored. The fact is, this is not true. The cochlear implant does not completely restore all hearing, and a person must be trained on how to use this implant. Myth number 5. All hearing loss is the same. The fact is, there are actually 4 different groups of people with a hearing loss: deaf, hard of hearing, late deaf in adults, and cochlear implant. Let's take a look at these 4 groups. The first is deaf. A person is born deaf. They use American Sign Language for their primary language. They utilize sign language interpreters and may use a TTY and/or VP/VRS. The second group is a hard of hearing group. The degree of hearing loss varies from mild to profound. The hearing loss can vary in age from infancy to adulthood. They utilize hearing aids, and the spoken English is the primary language, but some people may utilize sign language. The third group is late deafened adults. They depend on visual methods for communication. Visual representation of English is the primary language, and they may use a CapTel phone or phone amplification. The fourth group is the cochlear implant group. This is the newest group of people with a hearing loss, and it includes all other groups. They vary in age. The communication depends on when they lost their hearing, and depending on their lifestyle, assistive listening devices may be utilized. Proper etiquette and language. To get the attention of a person who is deaf or hard of hearing, tap the person on the shoulder or wave your hand. When speaking, look directly at the person and speak clearly, naturally, and slowly to establish if the person can read lips. Not everyone can read lips. Those who can will rely on facial expressions and other body language to help in understanding. Do not shout at a person who is deaf or hard of hearing. Shouting distorts sounds accepted through hearing aids and inhibits lip reading. Language do's and don'ts. What words not to use? Disability and hearing impaired. What words to use? Deaf, hard of hearing, late deaf in adults, and cochlear implant. Let's take a look at some famous people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Thomas Edison, Beethoven, Lou Ferrigno, also known as the Hulk, Marlee Matlin, Rush Limbaugh, and Ronald Reagan. I hope you learned something from watching this video, and I hope it helps you in your educational career.